So it doesn't matter whether you have a large vegetable plot like I've got behind me, or a small vegetable plot, or a small garden, or you maybe even just have not a lot of space at all to grow things and you grow things in pots or containers. But it's always good to have a plan of what vegetables you're going to grow and where you're going to plant them to make the area that you've got, however large or small it is, more efficient. And in this video I'm going to share with you how I plan my allotment out for the next growing year. And also at the end of the video I'm going to provide you with details of how you can have a free copy of my brand new drag and drop vegetable plot planner, which I've just recently developed, completely free, and it'll allow you to design your growing space to whatever size or shape you have and to drag and drop the vegetables you want to grow into it. So stay tuned to the end of the video for details of that. If you do like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and 1 or 2 recipe ideas, and don't forget to press the subscribe button. So the first thing to do when considering what you're going to grow in where is firstly work out what crops you are going to grow, and then you need to do a little bit of research to understand how much space they take. Now in this bed, for example, it's quite a long bed here, and this is designated for next year as my brassica bed. So here I'm going to have my sprouts, cabbages, cauliflowers, broccoli, if I grow them, will be in this bed. So therefore I need to work out how much space I need for each of those particular crops. If in other beds you're growing things like, for example, courgettes or plants that demand more space, you need to consider that in your planning. So for example, with courgettes, they grow to a fairly large size and you'll need spacings of around about 18 to 24 inches between each plant, and that soon will take up a lot of space in your allotment. So part of your planning, and the reason you do a plan, is to work out what you're going to have and where based upon the space you have available. So if you've grown vegetables before, you're going to know what vegetables were in each place in the previous year, and it's always good to move your vegetables around, something called crop rotation. And the reason you'll do crop rotation is because if there's any underlying diseases or fungus from those previous crops in the beds and you were to plant the same crop all over again, then you'd significantly increase the possibility of disease or the crops not being successful. So it's always good to rotate the crops. In this bed under the green netting, I've still got the remains of some of my sprouts and cabbage and swedes at the far end. So this is a brassica bed. So next year I'm going to be growing other things in that bed that won't be brassicas. So just by having a plan, you can work out what you grew in the previous year and then rotate them in the following year. The other good thing about having a plan to follow is that you can increase the productivity of your allotment or your garden or your vegetable growing quite significantly. So for example, in this bed here I have broad beans which I planted in November. They will harvest probably round about late May to early June, and that's going to give me a space then to put something else into. And this is where you can consider something called succession planting, where you remove a crop and then you put something else back straight in its place. So in this bed here, for example, once these broad beans are fully grown and I have harvested them, I'll put something in there like lettuce or spring onions or radish or something like that, just to keep the allotment as productive as possible. And I can plan that throughout the allotment in exactly the same way based upon when I know these crops will be harvested. And that way you can ensure that you get a continual supply of fruit and vegetables all year round. So in order to help vegetable growers plan their vegetable spaces and make their plots more efficient, I've developed a really simple and easy to use vegetable plot planner, which I'm now going to demonstrate how to use it. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can have a completely free copy for yourself. So as you can see, this is the new vegetable garden layout planner. Now the whole reason this was designed was to try and make it more efficient for fruit and vegetable growers to be able to plan what they're growing on a year by year basis. Now of course you can use pen and paper, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I find these electronic versions just allow me to keep track of what I'm growing year on year and they're quite flexible, so I can move things around quite easily. As you can see, there's 3 parts to the planner. On the far left hand side we have the planting and sowing area inside the red rectangle. This is also the printing area, and this is where we're going to design, or you're going to design, your planting spaces and put your fruit and vegetables. In the middle we have the drag and drop area, and at the top of the drag and drop area I've made a number of planting bed sizes that you will drag into the planting and sowing area depending upon what your layout is. Below that I also have some common fruit and vegetables which you will then start to populate into your planting beds once we've done that. I'm going to go through how this is done in a moment and talk you through the process of how it happens. On the far right hand side we have a set of instructions. The idea of the planner is that because everybody has different growing spaces, different layouts, different amounts of space, different sizes and shapes, the idea is that you will firstly design your layout to match whatever your growing spaces are. And the way you'll do that is that you'll go into the drag and drop area and select planting beds to drag over to the planting and sowing area on the left hand side. So you select a planting bed of a size that you think reasonably suits what you want. Now these won't be to scale, but they're just meant to proportionally represent the type of space that you will have in your area. So to move a planting bed into the planting and sowing area, all we'll do is we'll click on it or hover over it and you'll see a black cross appear. When you see the black cross appear, just click down on your mouse and you'll see these white dots appear around the perimeter, and then you can just drag that planting bed into your planting and sowing area. Let's pick another one of the same size, so we'll click on it so you can see the black cross there. Click down when you see the black cross and then you'll be able to drag that over. Now, representing paths and walkways obviously just leave spaces between the planting beds. Let's just move another few over just to give you some examples, and I'll show you how to populate them with veg. I'm just picking planting beds of different sizes here. Your layout will be completely unique to you and completely different, so you will select whichever ones you want. Now, if when you get the planting beds over there you think, well actually there's not a size that really suits the size that I need, so what you can do, let's use this one here. If you want to make the bed of a different size to the ones that are there, click on the shape and you'll get these white dots around the perimeter. Now you can adjust the shape and the size of the planting area at any of those white dot points. So if you want to make it wider, let's click on the side here, just hover over it, click on mouse on your down and then drag it to whatever size you want. If you want to make it smaller, let's go on the corner one, we can do this. Larger, want to make it longer. So really, even if there are planting beds that are not in that area to match your sizes, as you can see, it's flexible enough to be able to change the size and shape to suit whatever you need. If you want to change the position of it, I mean that's a square there, but let's make this a bit longer, and I want to change the orientation of that. I'll just click the little round arrow at the top here, hold on to it there, just with my mouse, click down, and then just move it, and it'll change the position of it as I need it. If you do make a mistake with anything that you've done, it's very simple to correct. All you'll do on a Windows laptop or PC, press Ctrl and Z, and it'll go back and it undoes the last operation that you did. And if you keep pressing Ctrl Z, it'll keep going back over the steps in order that you did them. If you're on an Apple Mac, then it'll be Command and Z. So even if you make a mistake, it's really easy to fix. Now let's say we've got all our planting beds populated. Let me just bring a few more across. I'll bring these larger ones just to demonstrate how the veg are included. So let's just say that's a strange layout, but that could be what it is. So now we go down to our vegetables. So now we've got the areas, all of our planting beds are ready. Now we want to think about, well, where do I want to plant my vegetables this coming year? Now, here there's a range of common vegetables and fruit that people will grow. There may be others that are not here that you might be growing, and we'll show you how to deal with that in a moment. So let's say we want to grow our cauliflower. So click on cauliflower, get the black cross on it, click down on the mouse, let it go highlighted with the white dots, and then just literally drag it into whichever bed that you want. And you might think to yourself, well, I like cauliflower, that's not really a big area, I want more of an area for cauliflower. So all you'll do is simply highlight it, get the white dots, and then pick the white dot at the bottom and just drag it to whatever area that you want to grow cauliflowers. Now you will have to do a little bit of research in terms of the growing spaces that you will need depending upon what vegetables that you're growing. So for example, courgettes take an awful lot of space up, and even for half a dozen courgettes it might take quite a large area compared to another vegetable using the same area where you can grow a lot more. But this is all about you sort of almost estimating how much space you'll need for each vegetable. So we've got a cauliflower in space, and then we think to ourselves, well, what do we want next? Let's say I'm going to put some cabbage next to my cauliflowers. So we'll go over to the drag and drop area over in the middle, click on cabbage, get the black cross on it, and then drag it over. And I want it next to my cauliflower. And again, I want a bit of a larger space for that, so I'm going to just drag it down to make it slightly bigger. And then I might decide, well, I've not got an awful lot left space left in that bed, so let me just put a few carrots in there. So I'm going over to the drag and drop area, and I'll bring my carrots in, etc. And that fills up that bed there. Now, once you've populated all of your beds, and you think, well, and you stand back and you have a look at it, and you think, oh, actually, I prefer to have this over there. It's just literally a case of moving stuff around. So let's say I want my cabbage over here, so my cabbage is not going to go where I've originally planned, so I'm going to click on the cabbage, get my black cross, and then I'm going to put it over here. And that's the beauty of having an electronic version like this. It gives you flexibility and allows you to move things around. So once you've populated your plot completely, it might look something like this. This is my first draft of my plan for my allotment, and as you can see, I've got quite a lot of vegetables. I'm only asking you to look on the left hand side in the planting and sowing area. The drag and drop area is the fixed template that everybody will use. That's my layout, and you'll notice on there I've got a polyhouse, and I've added in things like sheds and stuff like that. So obviously you're looking at things on here that are not on the drag and drop area. So how can you do that? Well, if I go back to our layout, and you'll notice at the bottom of the drag and drop area I've got some blank templates here, some horizontal and some vertical. So let's start off with, if you want to grow vertical vegetables, like so for example, instead of having your vegetables next to each other like I've done with the cauliflower and the carrots, let's say you want to plant some peas on a vertical length rather than horizontal. You can go to the template here at the bottom, blank, put the black cross on it, drag it across and put it into here, and let's say I want that to be the full length of the bed. Then I can make it longer. Now of course it's called blank at the moment, so to change the text, just double click on the text and you'll see the text highlighted. And let's say we're going to grow peas here, type in peas and it will overwrite it, and now we have peas. And if you want to change the colour of that bed, just highlight the square with peas in it, then go to the top of your the menu screen, and you'll see a little tin of paint just up here which is called fill colour. Click on the little arrow next to it and all the colours will come here, and you can change it to whatever colour that you select. So let's go for a yellow type of colour. If there's a colour there that you think you want to use that's not there, you can go to more colours here and you'll get pretty much any colour that you want. So that's how you will use vegetables that you maybe want to grow vertically instead of horizontally in relation to the plan. What about the polyhouse and the shed that you saw? Well, the way you'll do that is if you go onto a blank template, again drag it across in the usual way. My polyhouse is quite big, as you saw on my plan, so if I wanted this to be my polyhouse, I would highlight it, I'd go to the corner white dot and drag it to the size that I wanted it. I'd double click on the text and I'd type polyhouse, and then I'd change the colour by going up to the tin again, and let's say we're going to have that, clicking on the little arrow, I'm going to have that as blue. Now if you're going to have dark colours, then the text will need to be white so you can see what it says. So double click on the text and then go to the A at the top, or go to the arrow next to it to change the text colour, and then I'll select white, and then when I click off it, polyhouse is now white. So that's how you will set up the template to match whatever your plot will be, and you can move them around to suit whatever you want. Hopefully you'll find that quite useful, and you can do that on a year by year basis. So therefore, when you come to next year, you're going to have a record of what you did the previous year, and you'll just save it as and do another one, and you'll be able to compare it. So when you come to print, I've set it up so that everything will print on an A4 size, but just print the first page out. So if you go to File and Print, I'll just show you what it looks like. It should show you in a minute what the template looks like. There you go. That's what will print out. But all you want to do when you go to print is just print page 1 to 1. Otherwise, it will print out all of the drag and drop area and all of the other instructions which you don't want. So if you are going to print and you want to print it in colour, I've designed it to be printed on A4. So that's something that you might want to think about. One final thing is if you want to zoom in or out, so you want to sort of make it look larger or smaller to see what it looks like, then you can go to the top over here, right at the very top of the Excel menus, go to View, and then you can go to Zoom, and then you can type in whatever. If you want to make it so that you zoom out 50%, or you can go back, or you can go to Zoom here on this icon here, go to 100%. I've done it at 75% for the demonstration because it does get most of what I need on there. So I hope you find that useful, but if you do have any questions, then pop them in the comments below, and I hope you enjoy planning your fruit and vegetables for the coming year using this planner. So as you can see, the planner gives you a lot of flexibility in the ability to be able to consider what plants you want to grow and to move them around, and you can do that on a year by year basis, so it should be a really useful resource. Now, as I've said, the planner is completely free. I've developed it to help vegetable growers like yourselves to be more efficient in your vegetable growing, and if you want a copy, all you need to do is send me an email. My email address is in the comments below. Once you send me an email, I'll send you a copy of the editable version of the planner back by return email. I'd also appreciate it if you could consider putting a comment in the box below the video to tell me what you think of the planner and the video, or maybe any plans you've got for growing over the coming year. So I hope you've liked that video, hope you find the planner useful, and if you do like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and 1 or 2 recipe ideas, don't forget to press the subscribe button. And I'll see you all on the next video.